Hello, Panther marching band students and families. We are in our final day of band camp. And as we're preparing for this, I want to let you know what you can expect for game day and also how to treat your uniforms. You're responsible for your uniforms. I'm looking at our band handbook. So I'm going to highlight the handbook, but you can look at this on your own. You're responsible to take care of your uniforms for the entire season. Um, Tips: hang your uniform immediately after you use it and air it out overnight. So if you were to, as soon as you get home, take your uniform out of the garment bag, air it out overnight. Do not zip it inside the garment bag. It'll get really stinky, possibly moldy and smelly. It's awful when you unzip it a week later. Just truly terrible. So if you have dirt spots, you can wipe them off with a cloth or a brush. But these uniforms are dry clean only. So do not place them inside the washing machine and dryer. They have to go to the dry cleaners or spot clean. Make sure, again, that you hang them up, particularly if they get wet from sweating or from water or from rain. It's really important that you hang them up overnight to dry. Even if you don't really sweat in it, you have to hang it up. Your hats, same thing. You can carry it inside your hat box, but when you get home, open the box, open the hat, let it air out. You can wipe dry it, okay, or wipe clean it rather, spot clean it, but do not put other items inside the box. Don't put food or anything else, socks, because what happens is you might forget that they're in there, and next thing you know, next week you have a clementine that's rotted inside your hat. It happens literally every week, so please don't do that. If you see tags or barcodes on anything, don't rip them off. They're there for a reason. We use them when we come back in. Your shoes, same thing. Air them out overnight. You can wipe them dry. Boots, you can wipe them dry. But don't leave your socks or your stockings inside these shoes. It just won't air out properly. You are responsible to replace or repair any items that are lost or damaged. There are two types of uniforms. There's the full uniform and the warm-up uniform. The full uniform for instrumentalists includes the band hat or beret for tuba players, the instrumentalist jacket, the number 12 t-shirt, which must be worn underneath that jacket. In future games, when it's colder, you can layer, but the 12 shirt has to be there. Black gloves. There's no gloves for percussionists. Pants, of course. Shorts and pants are usually underneath. Most students will wear athletic shorts or some sort of comfortable shorts or pants underneath their uniform pants. That's perfectly acceptable. Socks have to be long and they have to be black. Excuse me. The black band shoes. If you have long hair, it comes out of your jacket or coat rather, and it touches your shoulders, it has to be put back somehow. So it has to be in at least a ponytail, but braided or put up in a bun is great too. But you have to have your hair put back. It can't just hang down from your coat or jacket and touch your coat. The warm-up uniform is what you're permitted to wear when we're getting ready to play. It has to be the number 12 black t-shirt, black pants, socks, shoes. Essentially what you do is you have your hat, jacket, and gloves nearby. If you don't have your 12 shirt underneath, you can't take your jacket off. Having the 12 shirt on is part of the uniform, and it's the required shirt that is underneath the jacket. If you're not wearing a 12 shirt on, and I'll have to ask you to put your jacket on because it's not part of the uniform. Band front has the same uniform for warm-up and full band. You basically show up for warm-ups in your uniform. Braided hair, black bodysuit, bib, skirt, stockings, black boots, gloves. Mrs. Caulfield can sometimes choose in a really hot game to go without stockings, but that's part of the uniform. And if she makes that call, she'll let you know. Your hair is usually braided for these things. In both situations, band front and instrumentalist, it's a good idea to show up to the school in your uniform. It's one less thing. Another thing I want to tell you too is that if you're changing at school, everyone has the same looking garment bag, the same shoes, the same jacket, the same pants. It is critically important that you keep everything together inside your garment bag. If you don't have it inside your garment bag, there's a really good chance you'll lose it or get it mixed up with someone else. For all of you, small backpacks, you can wear them as you march in and out of the stadium. However, they have to be black. They have to be Strathaven logo, like the ones we sell that say Haven. If they're not Strathaven specific, they have to be black, and the logo can be something else, but it's got to be smaller than a typical index card, typically smaller than a 3x5. But black bags are the most important thing. Minimize what you have to bring in. It makes it easier, and you can share bags. Maybe that helps you. One person carry a bag for 2 people with all your stuff or whatever. When it gets colder, anything that's underneath has to be black in case it accidentally shows through the uniform. Scarves, earmuffs, sweatshirts, they have to be silver, black, and white. They can't be a different color. Anything you wear over the uniform, particularly band front, it has to be mostly black. The fleece is a great idea, but it has to be silver, black, and white, which are our school colors. Earrings, they have to be tight to the ear. Studs, hoops that are like literally touching the skin, those are permissible. You cannot have earrings that are dangling or large here around the ear, and that's for safety. Sometimes flags and instruments literally get caught in these earrings, and that's a bad day at sea. You may wear a wristwatch, but bracelets and necklaces should not be visible. So no bracelets and necklaces visible. Wristwatch is okay. If you get a raincoat, which we thankfully, knock on wood, don't need for Thursday's game, tomorrow's game, you button all the buttons except for the top one. Every Friday, in this case a Thursday, you can expect a similar schedule. Tomorrow, our drum call time will actually be about 5 o'clock. I think 5 o'clock is better for us this first game because it takes 30 drummers a long time to learn how to get everything set up and ready in the pressure of a game. But it's usually 5 o'clock or 5:25, but shoot for 5 o'clock, drummers. You have a downbeat, a warm-up, 5:35 p.m. drumline, and that's in the grass in front of the gym. 5:50 is the general call time for everyone else. 6 o'clock, the drumline takes a 5-minute break. 6:05, we all warm up with drumline. Everybody warms up 6:05 in the grass in front of the gym. The downbeat uniform for the instrumentalist, it's that the warm-up uniform. You can go without your jacket, although to be quite honest, there's nowhere to place your jacket, so most people wind up just warming up in their full uniform. For band front, it's full uniform. 6:25, we march across the bridge called Jack Haunt's Way. We make it over to the high school or the middle school stadium. We usually perform Ready for It. We might skip that this week, but we usually perform Ready for It, Minnesota Rouser, the Star Spangled Banner. In the first quarter, in all quarters, you always stand to perform. But in the first quarter, there will be no bathroom breaks. There's no food in the stands, but there are water bottles are permitted. You cannot use a cell phone unless you're taking a quick photo, selfie, picture, whatever. That's appropriate. What's inappropriate is texting or using a social app because it takes your attention away from the job at hand, which is performing during the stands. In the second quarter, again, you stand when you perform. No food, water bottles, emergency bathroom breaks only. When you do have to use the bathroom, you sign out with one of the staff members. There's a sign-out sheet, and that will help us track where you are, make sure you're not in the restroom too long in case something happens to you. We need to know that. About 6 or 7 minutes or so left in the second quarter, we start to come down from the stands, and we go out to the end zones around the track and get ready for our halftime show. The performance happens at halftime. There's no talking on the field, especially at attention. The only talking that's allowed is calling out routines and moves or helping with drill. That's fine. But what I'm saying is there's no conversations, especially at attention on the halftime. If there is an opposing band, there won't be this week, but if there is an opposing band, we stand for the entirety of that show. We applaud loudly and we focus. All these other bands, no matter what schools they're from, deserve our support, and they will give it to us in turn. After our halftime show is finished, what you'll do is you'll enjoy the snack bar, use the bathroom, relax and chat. You have to just be back in the stands, ready to play with 2 minutes left on the third quarter clock. So that means by the 7 minutes left in the third quarter clock, 5 minutes left, you need to start walking back to your spot. Otherwise, you will be late. It is 2 minutes. In this third quarter time, you have to remain inside the gated stadium grounds. You cannot leave the stadium, and you cannot enter the student section stands. The student section stands on the opposite side of the stands away from us. The reason you cannot enter the student section stands is because there are no adults to watch you or to make sure that you're safe. And this is also where our uniforms get the most damaged because people are throwing things and spilling drinks and things like this. Lastly, the last year when students were in the student section, they didn't quickly leave the student section and get back to the band in time. So there can be no entrance into the student section during the third quarter. Anyone who's in the student section that you want to hang out with, by all means, tell them to come on down to the track area there. There's plenty of space. That's a great way. They won't mind doing that, but you can't go into the student section. You can't remove any parts of your uniform during this time. Do not get undressed. Do not do anything like that. In a hot weather game, I told you, you can take the jacket off and your hats and gloves as long as you have the 12 shirt on underneath. This is primarily for instrumentalists. But you can't like change out, and you can't put another shirt on. You can't do that. Okay, you have to stay in the uniform. In the fourth quarter, we stand. We do all the same things. No bathroom breaks. No food. Water's okay. Y'all, can relax here and enjoy. Phones, quick picture. I'm fine with it. At the end of the game, we play the alma mater. We line up on the track facing the high school, and we march back to the high school. You have to remain in performance mode, which means you have to practice. You have to march professionally all the way until you get to that high school. Once you get back to the high school, you throw away your trash, hang your uniforms up. Remember, because if you don't hang them up, they will get wrinkled, smelly, and gross. You'll return your equipment, your uniforms, your flags, your equipment, your uniforms, your instruments to the appropriate place. Lock your lockers. You can use your phone here because our performance is finished. We typically, not always, but we typically have an optional leadership meeting for all who are interested in attending student leadership and even non-student leadership. And that's usually 20 to 30 minutes long in the band room following the game. At this time, you should invite a friend out to get an ice cream cone or eat some pizza. And then once that leadership meeting is over, please leave the building. You're not permitted to stay in the building. This is a general rundown of what tomorrow will be like and what most games will be like. I want you to focus on the requirements for your uniform for tomorrow and also kind of look over the schedule so you have an idea of how things will go. If this is your first or second year in band, I will tell you that there's a lot to take in. It's probably the most fun experience I have had teaching and working at Strathaven. And I think most students find it to be that way too, particularly in this gigantic band. The gasps when we walk into a stadium, it's just something that I've never seen before. It's really, truly fabulous. If you have questions about the experience or what your typical day is like, talk to student leadership or older students who can help you with this. All right, everybody, we have one last day of band camp to get through and to work hard for. We got to push to the end. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good night, everyone.